Black woman, black hips, black kiss, black lips, afro with a black pig. Love when you talk that blackish. Black man, black fist,
Vokal Dialect, like, comment, subscribe.
Vokal Dialect podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Vokal Dialect podcast. Like, comment, subscribe.
Black schools, black scholars, black doctors, black designers, black garments, black stage, black performance, black panel, black audience, black mothers, black fathers, black sons, black daughters, black love, black honor. You black today, you gonna be black tomorrow. Black woman, black hips.
No, we're not liberated. As long as we live in here, we'll never be fully liberated.
Nah.
My opinion.
Peace, perfect, so good.
Peace. What's going on, family? Sorry about that. I was having some technical difficulties. But how's everybody doing?
Everybody
Pretty good, man. How you doing, my brother?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Thanks for asking. Every day, is present challenges and choices, so we gotta make the best ones we can, overcome the challenges that we see. But what's going on with everybody?
Now
Pretty good.
we jumped into the topic. Are we as black people, are we liberated in the United States snakes of America? What you think? What's your opinion?
I'm glad I caught the question when I did. So I actually was thinking about this. We talked about the topic a little bit earlier today, and I had a thought that came to me was this. No matter where you are on the planet, on the earth, whether you're in Russia, whether you're in Asia, whether you're in Europe, every place comes with its own unique culture. What relationship, what business, what finances looks like, depending on where you live at and what culture you're a part, it looks differently. And so when we start to think about our presence here, because of the simple fact that we've had to adopt the cultural habits and cultural values of America and Europe, European culture, American culture, for the simple fact that we've been forced to adopt that, feel like that is grounds for needing to be liberated or evidence that we're not liberated because we're still kind of learning and moving in the fashions of European culture. And then to go, a little bit further into that, it's like in our efforts to create our own culture, we've always felt some type of pushback, some type of resistance. So that adds to the oppression itself. Just the suppression of culture can be an oppressive kind of offense. So to say is the question, are we liberated?
Right.
So I would say no, we're not liberated in our in our culture, in our minds, and how we interact with each other. We're not liberated. Feel like we're still under the control of a colonial mindset, colonial atmosphere. I feel like our minds have been colonized, given different thoughts, erroneous beliefs that aren't our own, don't represent who we are. And we could just look at, when people say, there's the argument about people not being from Africa, some people being indigenous and things like that. And, not to dive into that discussion, but no matter where you're from, the cultural habits aren't ours, So those cultural values aren't ours. So yeah, just to answer that question.
What you think, buddy? Knowledge?
All right. We have not been liberated, and we still got some of the same struggles we had back then than we do have now. It's just at a different level. And what I mean by a different level, it's not the same thing as we not walking out getting lynched, getting beat in the head with rocks and stuff. We ain't getting the water hose put on us. We ain't getting the dog sicked on us. We have lost our mindset of culture. We have picked up the Western European religion, this Western European way of thinking, Western European way of science, which is just crazy because when we study ancient Kemet, we're students of nature. And I'm just being real. Where everything Poetic said, I do agree with it wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? We have put ourselves into a class where it is pathetic and it is mind-blowing, the things that we have picked up and taken with us, and we pass it on to our kids. It's just like a big old lie. If your grandmama, they say, why your grandmama cut the ends off the bread? And then she never told you the reason why. Your grandmama cut the ends off the bread, your mama cut the ends off the bread, then you cut the ends off the bread. And you ask her one day, because we never ask questions. Black people never ask questions. We're never willing to ask questions and fight. You know what I'm saying? You ask your grandma why she cut the ends off the bread, and she said, oh, because it wouldn't fit into the pan. It was just a simple reason. We got to start asking questions. You know what I'm saying? Culturally, socially, politically, economically. You know, and right now we're coming up on a so-called Black Emancipation Proclamation. You know what I'm saying? I want to say something to these people out here that's been messaging me on Facebook Messenger and Instagram, my personal page, talking about they're Indian. I'm gonna tell you what's an Indian. I'm gonna give it to you raw right now. This is an Indian right here. Watch the rock paintings, and it's a sister. I can't think of her name. She translates these rock paintings. The rock paintings were pleasant and was nice. And then when the red man came, that's the Indian. That's who y'all want to be. Cherokee, Creole, all these other things or whatever. Then when the red man came along, then you got people heads flying in the air. The rock paintings changed. People heads getting chopped off and stuff like that. That's who you love. That's what you want to be. You know what I'm saying? I understand some of us are prisoners of war from Africa, and some of us are already here in America. I understand all of that. But I'm going to tell you something. You come from a place that's rich in minerals, in diamonds, in jewels. The soil was rich, all of this stuff. America ain't rich in nothing. Somebody tell me something that America is rich in besides stealing our inventions and going to the dang on patent office and make sure we don't get no money for that. That's what they're rich for. You know what I'm saying? You want to get to the meat of it. But no, we have not been liberated. And it's a long process. We have made some form of progress. I give it 5%. Yeah, I'm a hard critic. And the crowd is rough. I got to tell you. I'm a hard critic. I give you 5%. That's what I give you. We gotta get our mindset back, man. We gotta start back fighting. If we're gonna play this political game, reaching economics and stuff like that, I'm gonna get the people jewel. Learn about a trust. Learn how to do business through your trust. The banks don't love you. The credit unions treat you all right sometimes. And then everything else is, man, kick out the bucket. You know, my wife was telling me of a young lady who had an 816 credit score. She went to the bank. They wouldn't give her a loan. Come on, man, had an 816 credit score. 816 credit score. Wouldn't even give her a loan. Come on, man, what? It's rough out here in these streets, man. People say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm talking about honestly going to someone with you and your business and you being the personal guarantor for your business, and you trying to obtain some form of funds for this particular bank institute who's supposed to be FDIC, which is FD crap. That's what it is. They FD ignorant crap. That's what it is. I ain't gonna say the rest what I want to, so I'm being cool today. But I'm gonna tell y'all something. We ain't been liberated. We got to change our mindset, and we have to think about it. We are students of nature, and the very people who we want to be like and follow change our eye colors. What these blind wigs, you want to be them, they want to be you.
Right.
Now,
right.
It's confusing. It's messed up and it's confusing. You know what I'm saying? The sister on the program, what's her name, sister on the program? What's her IG name?
Queen Goddess Hope.
Queen Goddess Hope. Everybody needs to change their IG. You need something indigenous, something that speaks to empowerment and manifestation of yourself and the principles where you come from. You get what I'm saying? We ain't been liberated. We still confused. We delusional. This is a game. And everybody want to play the game. You don't want to play the game. We either going to play the game or we're not going to play the game. We're going to do politics or we ain't. Everybody want to give money to a particular political party or person who's going to do something for us. That's bull crap. You know what I'm saying? And Ice Cube message was real.
Right.
The black man in America owns less than 1% of the world's wealth, of the world's wealth, and everything comes from us. Come on, man.
I mean,
It don't
you
make
know,
no sense.
with the numbers game is always going to be against us. You know what I mean? You have a situation now, and I'm not disagreeing with you by any means. You know what I mean? The numbers game is going to be against us. We have over 300 years, 400 years of this indoctrination, generation after generation. So yeah, we are lost. Yeah, there are people that don't know, you know, don't know where they came from, don't know the culture, their history, or what it means to actually be black. You know what I mean? We are spiritual people, we are special people. But the thing is, though, there are those who do. There are those who do know who they are. They are those who are seeking liberation, who are seeking the kingdom, seeking sovereignty. There are those, and so that's what we really got to focus on. You know what I mean? When it comes to one of my brothers down here in the comments said we got to go after the resources. If we're gonna do this realistically and strategically, it's not gonna be 30 million black people. It's not gonna be 30 million united black people. But we've never had that.
Never.
You know what I mean? We've never had that. Even in Africa, it was never one Africa. It was tribes separated by languages and traditions and things like that. There's never been one. So we have to gather the people who understand what we're living in. You know what I mean? And then go after the resources. You know what I mean? The problem is that we're gonna face a lot of bucking. We're gonna face a lot of resistance. You know what I mean? That's what keeps on tearing up every chance we get to unity. Because it's happened over the years. We came together, you know, the Panthers had certain movements, but they always seem to get infiltrated or fall apart from the inside. We're always gonna get that resistance. We're always gonna have to go over these obstacles and challenges. What we gotta do is be able to find the like-minded individuals. This isn't a everybody hold hands kumbaya type of thing. This is what we're really talking about. What we're really talking about is just controlling our own resources. And if we controlling our own resources, that means we're taking away the dependency from someone else. And we're making other people money. So as long as we're making other people money, they're gonna be a resistance to us doing anything for ourselves. You know what I mean? And so we've seen situations where people say they're about the life and then they get offered a check and then their mind changes. You know what I mean? We've seen that before. But we have to continue to build with the people who know what the end goal is. You know what I mean? And do what we can when we can. It sounds real optimistic and everything like that, but at the end of the day, we only got one mission. You know what I mean? There ain't no going back. You know what I mean? This
ain't no
the
going
Matrix
back.
with the red pill. He not going back. You're not getting a piece of steak and jump back into this. You know what I mean? For a lot of us, this is the life we chose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We are truth seekers. You know what I mean? There are people out there that enjoy living the lie. As tough as it sounds, as hard of a pill as that to swallow, there's people that love the lie and depend on it. So you know, we're always what we got to stop doing, honestly, and I think my brother Tutmos put it. We got to stop announcing everything. Everything ain't got to be on the grandest of scales and you know, social media banners and you know, I applaud the organizations that are coming out and the things they're fighting for, but it's real simple. You know what I mean? I'm glad you're 501c3 certified. I'm glad you got the organization going, but it's real simple. Control the land. Go get the land. Once you get the land, you can govern your land. You know what I mean? And then once the organizations and they want to, if you're talking reparations, if you're not talking land, you're not talking about anything. Like, understand the game we're playing, and I think that, you know, knowledge, you have a great way of breaking down the commerce game that we're in, the way that we have to use and operate and trust and navigate that system. But a lot of people don't know the game we're playing. You know what I mean? So
Man, they don't know the game we playing.
No.
They don't know the game we playing.
Get the land, put it in the trust.
And it's so, just going back to something that Knowledge said about resources and minerals, and people don't even realize that, you know, I come from an industry of shipping and logistics, so I'm very well versed in that realm. But in reality, Africa is the only continent on the entire plane that we are aware of, I'll say that does not import anything. Everything is exported because they have all of the resources, all of the minerals, everything that is required to thrive is already there, you know, as Knowledge put. And one day, because when I realized that, I went deep diving into this whole quote unquote geography and history of Africa. And I started with the dynasties of the world. So when you start looking up the dynasties of the world and go back to the origins of these dynasties, of course, you're going to go back to Africa and Kemet, you know, and think about how vast and how much wealth was actually on this continent, and how now all of a sudden colonialism, you know, they came over and literally took over and stole from like over 187 something like that countries. So all of their material wealth right now, they own the largest portion of material wealth in the world, and it's all stolen. So when you start thinking, every single last thing is stolen. So when I think about liberation, I think about opposition. I think about the truth of freedom. What does that actually look like? Where does it stem from? I always say that we have to know where we are from in order to get where we are supposed to be. You know, I was on the Real Sisters Code. We recorded a podcast on Sunday. This very topic came up. You know what I mean? How do we feel that our souls can be liberated, especially on this now government holiday called Juneteenth? I don't feel liberated with this government paid holiday. Now y'all about to eat off of us. You know what I mean? If I one more weapon and a fucking Juneteenth flyer, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to explain to you? Like, we are living on what we call a slave land. When people look at the United States, they know this to be a slave land. Everybody on the United States lives in a debt society.
Right.
Every single last person outside of this world, if you want to buy a house, if you want to buy a car, whatever you want to buy, you have to pay cash. You cannot go into debt buying anything anywhere else except for America.
Right.
So that is the key thing right there. So yeah, we're talking about land, we're talking about research, we're talking about minerals, we're talking all of this stuff. We have to learn how to build up our assets and gain that financial control over this entire regime, because in reality, you have to pay cash in order to be liberated. You know what I mean? When I think about our sovereign brothers and sisters, our Moors and things like that, what is the first thing they try to free themselves from? A debt society. So I think that's really where we have to kind of go back in from. Like, I literally did not buy a house 4 times. Priest, Brother Obasi, 4 times I did not buy a property. And something in my spirit just said, why the F would I want to go into debt of hundreds of thousands of dollars by myself as a Black woman too? I was with a counterpart. Why would I want to do that by myself and pay my entire life on a property that I cannot technically do anything with? And in New Jersey, which is where I was going to buy, you cannot even have a garden there because you only own the property. You don't own the land. So you also have to know where you live and what those rules are. You understand? There's so many levels to this shit. It's not even funny.
It's so many levels.
You know that
together, how can we, like you said, so when I on the Real Sister Code, real quick, we said everybody's not going to come with us. You know, that's that sheep and the goat type of mentality. But in reality, if you want to go back to the good book, they talk about how 1/3 of the people were the people that will come together. You understand? So that means that 2/3 of the people are not going to be fighting on this fight with us.
Nope.
Only 1/3 of us will be.
Right. And that seems a little large. It seems a little large for what it is right now. But one thing you were saying about just learning the financial ways. So our economic system and how finances work in here is so drastically different from most other countries. We've had limited time and limited access to learn it. So that's a part of the liberation right there, being able to not even just, going out and seeking the knowledge, but there was generations that came by that were denied the ability to even just ask the question itself. So we're dealing with not only it's different from the rest of the world. So we would be in a different state of mind, we would operate, we would interact with people differently if we were in a different part of the world right off the bat, because this economic system is so different. But then when you start to break it down, you start talking about buying a property. They lock you into a 30-year, and I know, Knowledge, you could talk about the UCC and commerce a little bit more than I can, but they lock you into a 30-year mortgage. And if you miss one payment or you miss 3 payments out of that, no matter if you were living in there for 15 years, 18 years, if you miss 3 payments, especially in Georgia being a non-judicial state, they could come and get that property right up under you. And
Yeah.
then, you know, we operate off a fractional reserve system where the banks don't even have the money that they say they have.
Nope.
You know what I mean? They're operating
Make it make sense.
solely off of your debt, solely
Solely
off of your
off
income.
of
You're
your debt.
literally feeding and pumping the system. You know what I mean? And, you know, for a lot of people who don't know the ins and outs of how the economic system work and how we are oppressed by the economic system, because we gain the mentality where it's like, oh, well, we just got to do, we got to do to get the bag, without actually exploring in depth the actual system that we're operating in under commerce. So when we start talking about these commerce laws and things like that, like when we start talking liberation, I always, you know, the flip side is the oppression of it. You know what I mean? So these layers of oppression, a lot of us, you talk about 2/3, a lot of us don't even know the layers of the oppression because they don't know what exists outside of, you know,
Right.
the American way, the American economic system, American education. They don't know what exists out of there. So how could we ever try to do for ourselves without mimicking, coming back to the European culture?
Man,
You
that's
know what's so sad about
boy,
that
that's
too?
crazy.
They trying to do 40-year mortgages now.
40
Now,
years.
it's slavery. You locking them in. Now, see, the trickle down effect of this is this. You're bound to where you work at. You have to have a job. You have to be able to go and as the cost of living increases and your wages stay the same, you're literally just working to live. You know what I mean? And then, you know, we Instagram makes entrepreneurship seem so glorified. Instagram makes it seem so much easy to make these side hustles. But
Oh no.
realistically, 65% of the population, roughly around 65% of the population, lives paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
So then when is there time to critically really look at what's really going on in politics? Like, you know, as we're going through our day by day, we hear these things about Joe Biden and his son and Trump and this and that, and you know, I try not to get lost in it. But
All those are
as we going through our
distractions.
life, how we gonna sit down and really process all of that?
Yeah. It's true.
It's crazy. I want to mention a few things. One thing, a allodial title. That's the true title to the land.
Mm-hmm.
You get your property. Try to get to a land trust, Mississippi Land Trust. That's another one. You know what I'm saying? For us, it's on economic system. Take it and throw it out the window. It ain't worth the hill of beans. That's just the true thing. You know what I'm saying? Obasi's in the room too. What's up, Obasi?
So brother Abasi.
I also want to say too, you mentioned something. It slipped my mind just a second ago. So many thoughts came to my mind. If I was a computer, I'd be like, stop, now let's stop. But yeah, man, what you saying is true, man. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? What the Queen was saying is true too. We not ready for it. I do agree with you. Poetics. I think that number is kind of high. You know what I'm saying? For us getting together and being unified. And you're right. Once we get together, we still gonna have a European mindset. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy because we still got crab mentality. We still be jealous of each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, me and Ken Water are in sales in a sense or somewhat. And this how me and Ken Water do it. If he doing good for the month, I'm like, man, go get that money. If I'm doing good for the month, he say, right on, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do. You know what I'm saying? We don't be pulling each other down. Even poetics. He doing his thing, whatever business he doing, or entrepreneurship, man, get that money. You know what I'm saying? That's how we roll. We don't be pulling everybody down and talk crap mentality. None of that stuff, man. Because it's gonna take us together as a conglomerate for us to pull together and handle what we need to handle as a people. Man, we messed up culturally. You know what I'm saying? And it's bad because we didn't have ample amount of time to do what we supposed to do. We didn't have ample amount of time to know thyself, to do for self, and to put us on the right track. I'm gonna say one more thing. Poetic said about the finances. No, not the finances.
Commerce.
Commerce and the land and something. Oh yeah, paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
There's a lot of different ways that we can deal with this paycheck thing, but Instagram is this. Like you talking about these jobs you can do and make all this money. Anything you do, you have to put your energy into it. So what you ought to do is this and master yourself. is once you master something, to present it to the public, put your energy into that, and that'll bring you money. That's commerce.
I,
Exchange of energy.
I had I thought I was just thinking about this as you guys was talking. Okay, so our ancestors back in the day, it was many Black Wall Streets throughout the United States. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just fucking toast. But okay, they had their own land and resources. Was trying to establish their own resources and stuff. But guess what? The white man came and wiped them out. You know what I mean? So what I mean by that? No. As long as we live in the United States of America, we would never be liberated. We never.
Yeah.
I get you on that.
Now they offering $10,000 for people to move back to Tulsa.
Why?
To help the economy.
I promise I just saw this the other day.
Why?
That's what it's all about. They're gonna give you 10,000, so you put the 10,000 back into the economy and start the currency going back up again, bring some more value in there. It's the age-old trick, but you know what? That gets people excited sometimes. That's what they did during the pandemic. They pump in $1,200 checks in everybody's pocket, and now look at the effects of it. Inflation just jumped up at an all-time rate. You know what I mean? But you make a good point though, Kenwato. You know what I mean? Because to say that we're just now learning finances and things like that, I don't want to give the wrong impression, because you're right. There were definitely many Wall Streets, Black Wall Streets. You know what I mean? In Charlotte and Virginia and things like that, but. I just feel like every single time that they try to destroy a city, it set us back. Every single time we got infiltrated, and honestly, that just could be how I feel about how it happened, how I feel about history. But it seems like every single time we were making the progress, you know what I mean, we got knocked back down, and we never came back, and kind of like continued to pass it on the torch. We were always coming back and starting back at scratch. It felt like, you know what I mean. One of the things that if you read about the Panther Party in Chicago and with Fred Hampton, one of the things they were trying to do was get a hospital. You know what I mean, an all-black hospital. And I'm like, well, how come we never revisited that idea? You know what I mean? If that was on the minds of people, and with so many celebrities and people who say that they have the best interest for the Black community, you know what I mean? The hospital, it shouldn't move mountains it shouldn't have to be moving mountains to create your own hospital. You know what I mean? And so we definitely gotta look at the people who we call leaders. I think that's a big thing what you were saying, because I think I would shameless plug. I hope you don't mind. We got the Family Business Podcast premiering on Friday.
Plug it in.
Plug it in.
I go drive it one time. But one of the brothers brought up, he said one thing that we're missing is solidarity. He said that one of the key things we're missing is solidarity. We don't have anything to really rally around. You know what I mean? And so we don't have the leadership that we need for our condition. You know what I mean? The Black American experience. We don't have the leader for that, and we're not. And a lot of the times we look up to these athletes and look up to celebrities, and I've said it on the podcast, I said it on this show as well. Like, those aren't the people that are going to be leading us. Those aren't the people that have our best interest. They're getting paid to keep American culture strong. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not going to sacrifice their money. They're not going to sacrifice their dollar bill. You know what I mean? Or their way of life even. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, one thing really has to just be done boots on the ground. You know what I mean?
We said something on the Real Sister the other night too about when you have a tribe, there's always like a board of directors, if you will. There's always a group of leaders, a group of elders that basically run the community. And even if we had to break it down by state, because I feel like one day American society, there is going to be no Fed one day. It's going to be on a state level. You understand? Mm-hmm. So let's just say if we even had to come together on a state level, who was going to be that one representative for the Black community? You know what I mean? From each state. And we can have our own conventions, because guess what? You could rent out an office space. You could rent out a stadium. You just have to have the money, at the end of the day. So we start thinking smaller before we think larger. And that's really what it comes down to. A lot of us aren't really thinking about that portion of it. I thought about PAL. I used to go to a police athletic league in New York City, and they
Yeah,
were
I
always
used to do
a
PAL.
leader. You know
Yeah,
what
I know
I
PAL.
counselors, and then every clique, every group had their own little
Right,
like that.
right.
Because that's the only way. Because my main thing is like, okay, if some shit pop off, I said this before on the podcast. Like, if the grid go down, who can I run to? Who's gonna be my closest ally? Everybody's gonna be a man for themselves. What group do we have? We obviously have a group here, but what group do we really have? For us to say, okay, if shit go hit the fan, this is where I'm supposed to go. This is the meeting spot. This is where everybody gonna go, and everybody got their way of smoke signals and contacts. You got your Pony Express, you got flares and smoke signals. Like, what are we gonna do to be able to connect? How are we gonna piece that together? And I think that's really the first piece that's missing. We need to set the basics and start a solid foundation, because everybody know how to protect their household, but how do we protect the community together?
Right.
We
No,
we too split. We too split. We are too separated to protect the community in itself. That's why in natural disaster, and also being prepared, I try to teach people to have a map of your area. At least get with 5 to 7 people that you can map your way to their house if you have to travel by foot, bike, or something like that. Have a certain amount of water in your house, a certain amount of food, and you have to have a protection house where you can come here and you guys can hold it down for, let's say, man, 6 months. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So definitely you need to have a map of your area. Where can you go? Where is the closest water source? Where is high ground? What can you? What's the best place that you can defend yourself at? I mean, protect yourself if you have to do it. And then we had the brother on the show yesterday, Baba Soul. And, me and Ken Water, we're gonna take a walk with him, and I want to learn a little bit more about the land. I want to know, what can I touch? What can I make a tea? What can I make for ointment? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
when I say we are students of nature in the beginning, we have to
Yeah.
go back to that,
Yeah.
and we got to master that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things of being an adept. And adept is you mastering 3 of the ologies, no matter what it is. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It's just cosmology, biology, something. We need to master 3. If 4 of us on this podcast, we master 3 different ologies, ain't nobody messing with us. I'm telling you right now. Ain't nobody messing with us, because 3 people mastering 4 people mastering 3 ologies, we will have an answer to whatever happens, or whatever, or to whatever's going on.
You're right.
That's what I was making here. So this is like mullein tea and chamomile, and I've been adding soursop to it. So it's basically just a strainer to like put loose leaf tea inside. And this is what I've been doing every day to kind of just cleanse my lungs today. And I've been doing this all week, but I basically keep the fresh herbs in a mason jar, lock it up, and every single day I just scoop whatever I need out of it and mix it up. You know what I mean? And it's so true, because I think I said that before, like, we literally have everything that we need from Mother Earth. You just have to know what to look for. Sometimes you just have to go into the wild, and just walk, like you said, around, because especially you guys being in Georgia, there's so much raw natural resources. I feel like that's baby Africa for real. They call it Wakanda for a reason. And I genuinely believe that it really is. You have so many natural resources. Like, I was just thinking about going crystal mining, and I was like, what's the closest place to crystal mine? And it was like, there's like
Georgia.
in Georgia. Yeah.
Georgia.
So I'm like, you have so many raw natural resources there, and we really, really, really need to get on it, because right now I think the FDA is trying to put a new law in place saying that if you sell loose herbs or anything like that, you have to register them through the FDA in order to sell them. They coming directly for our necks with that.
Yeah.
Listen, you see what they're trying to create, though. You see what
Yeah.
they're trying to create. They're putting they're
The
putting their bars together. They're putting their chains together so that when they can squeeze and they tighten up that rope, they've already prepared themselves. You know what I mean? Yeah. But
one
go
one
ahead,
thing
bro.
for sure, they're ahead of us, and they are passing laws about us growing, forming, things of that nature. Man, first it was the attack of the seeds. Now it's on the attack of the people. And we got to be real strategic when we do this now. Now when we talk, You know what I'm saying? We got to talk in code. We can't let people know we have a garden. You know, it's getting to that level because the pandemic made everybody a herbalist, made everybody a planter. It made everybody research. Sea moss was the #1 search word on Google during the pandemic. Sea moss.
Wow.
Now they're attacking sea moss. You know what I'm saying? We really have to pool our resources together. This next election coming up is on November. I'm gonna really be on what's going on these ballots and speaking truth to power. You know, 1 year they had on there we couldn't like the black man couldn't come to court pro se. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much just trying to stop that. We can't file paperwork. We talking about it's paper terrorists. If you file a UCC1, the UCC1, the Uniform Commercial Code, is a public record. That's all it is. It's a public record. You put people on record and on notice. Just because you can use it with a little bit of power in the private sector, but the thing about the private sector is you have to enforce your claim. So if you can't come to court pro se, stand on your own square, then you cannot what? Enforce your claim. They're very strategic about that. But we definitely gotta pool our resources together. I know me and Ken Water got a lot going on, you know, coming up soon. You know, I know Poetics do, but some type of way. I've been having this thing for the last 2 years, no procrastination. I try not to procrastinate on nothing. But some type of way, I'm gonna make a way and try to present this to the people, what's going on in this current election, what they trying to pass. Because no one is taking the business of doing that. Everybody makes speeches. No one bringing real evidence or real facts or real documents. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's my plan.
I can tell you something that's even crazy. Don't you know? Y'all probably know that. What's that? Bill Gates have a mosquito farm.
Man.
Yeah, they said Bill Gates brought up the most farmable land.
GMO mosquitoes, and it's to the point where a mosquito could come and bite you. You can catch the virus. That's how crucial this is. That's how crucial this is. We running around here looking at love and hip hop and all the bullshit. You know what I mean? Dancing, clowning.
Yeah.
This
you really realize how wicked these people really are. You know.
There you go.
Bill Gates.
Yeah.
I heard he bought up he has now owns the largest amount of farmable land.
Yep.
And I don't know whether it was the country or the world or one of those two, but he's not a farmer.
Nah, he no damn farmer.
And you know he likes to manipulate vaccines, and he likes to play. And a lot of these people have this God complex where they want to play God. But you know, it's gonna get to a point. I know it doesn't seem like there's too many different options. It's gonna have to be some type of level of disobedience. We're gonna have to break some laws. And I'm not gonna be the one. I'm not gonna go, on Instagram and say all that. But some of these things that they are proposing to enforce on us, I mean, at the end of the day, you just gonna have to say no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, United States, the people who live here are so in line. If you look abroad, they revolt by any necessary. Be hundreds of thousands of people in the street wailing. You don't see that here at all.
Right.
Nobody coming together to revolt, and that's all that's needed. And you know what I believe? I believe we're part of that. We are the only. I think the world is waiting for Black people to uproar.
They
don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
you
why
on our cue?
So in line.
Right. On our cue.
I'm violent. Nobody Malcolm before. Like,
I'm serious though. You're not telling no story. I done talked to people from Canada, and I talked to another guy from Nigeria, and he said during the times where things happened to Black people, he said they were waiting on a sign. You hear me? They waiting on a sign. Some of them hate us because of the opportunities that we have, and we don't take advantage of it. But some of us wants to be us. They want to revolt. You get what I'm saying? And to my brother Poetics, talking about the law breaking, we just gonna call it code extraction. That's what we're doing. Right. Yeah, because everything is based on the penal code. Everything is a code. It's a code. The
So,
police are nothing but code enforcers. You have
yeah.
a code enforcer that ride around. You break a law, it's a code. We're in Georgia, OCGA, the official code of Georgia annotate. We just gonna be code extracted. We gonna break the law. We just code extracted. It's
I like
cool.
that.
It's
Well,
all good.
That got a nice little ring to it. Code
Yes,
extract.
I love it. I love it, man.
Roll right off the tongue. Okay.
It makes my snapback want to fall off. I like that.
Nah, but yeah, man, I completely agree with you, man. It's important for us to have connections,
We do.
both here and abroad. You know what I mean? And that's never really faded because if you think back during the Panthers heyday, they were made connections to revolutionary movements in Africa. And from what I hear, I haven't spent any time over there myself, but from what I hear, there are still nations over there that still carry that revolutionary
Mm-hmm.
ambition. You know what I'm saying? And I remember seeing this program just to kind of like touch on it. And it was an African. It was just a clip, but it was an African kind of like talk show. So one of the guys was asking him, and he said, what do they think about Black Americans? And he said, when you're dealing with Africa, it's kind of split into three different kind of groups. One group are the ones who want to be European more than they want to be African. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He said, then there's another group that want to be more Muslim than they are African. And then he said, but if you're talking to the core of Africa, he said most of them believe that the glory of Africa will be restored when the Black Americans rise up. And I thought it was interesting him saying that because, I mean, we carry culture. We have always been the kind of like the growth of United States. We've always they made their fortune off of our free labor. We carry culture. We carry trends. We have the buying power of some trillions of dollars. So it's like we have to know the value of who we are. You know what I'm saying? And then for them to have that feel about us, we gotta have that feel about us. We gotta know that our value is like, we could uplift the nation with just ourselves.
Damn.
yeah, but you know what's so crazy? I agree, but you know what's so crazy about that, man?
That's powerful.
We don't even have a community anymore, man. We don't even know our neighbors anymore. So we don't have a community. I grew up in a community, you know what I mean?
Right.
We so divided, man.
Yeah.
Like
And
individual. It's just straight division over anything, man.
yeah.
Right.
It's
I
tough.
was
It's
Man,
tough,
we,
especially when we can't gather resources. Because what we used to do is gather at, the community centers. You know what I mean? When the churches had a real purpose. You know what I mean? Instead of being a tax write-off. You know what I mean? It's like we used to have the brick and mortars
yeah,
that we could be around. You know what I mean? And then when we had our own communities, with the exception of the police, they usually left us alone. You know what I mean? So we
yeah,
could commune and come together and talk and things like that. We got so many infiltrators, so many gentrifiers. We got white people living in the midst of the hood. We can't even talk the same no more because they want to, turn the corner store into a Starbucks. It's tough, but
yeah,
again, we know what's all against us. We know the obstacles that's against us. We know the challenges that are against us. The only thing what we could do is know what we need and focus on that as we navigate around all the obstacles that they try to put in front of us. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. We ain't got no community. You know what I'm saying? But what we can do is we could get a community. We could get a building. You know what I mean?
right.
Talk to somebody with a building. We don't have a lot of people. We don't have the curriculum and the education system. But if we got a couple elders, man, and they could give us a couple hours of their time, and I mean,
yeah,
we might be able to in exchange for that come help them on their land and they teach us some tricks of the trade of farming and teach it to some of the kids. You know what I mean? The mothers who don't have child care, the mothers who have to, take their kids to day camps while what I mean, hopefully the father's in the house while the father's at work or something along those lines. Take them down, sit down with the elders for 45 minutes, 2 hours, let them teach them something about growing. And if they don't want to listen, pop them upside their head because, we discipline our children over here, what I mean? Make them listen because to not want to know and to not let them, no, that's not an excuse. Make them, you're their parent, make them sit down and listen, what I mean? Learn a skill. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's a guy in the Western that makes underwear from scratch. I never knew that. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I forgot his name at the time, but you know, he knits and stuff like that. So we just got to do what we can with what we got. You know what I mean? That's always been the name of the game. You know what I mean? In my household, you do what you can with what you got. So, you know, just whatever. If they can teach, teach. You know what I mean? And then, you know, let that be what we rally around. You know.
I want to piggyback on something that was said. Recently, I watched the Spook Who Sat by the Door, and one thing that
Oh yeah.
was the greatest that stood out to me was the fact that they said we cannot shut down the city because the last time we shut down the city, the town almost went bankrupt. So when you said that, you know, we have the most powerful thing, which is the black dollar, because we are especially black women, we pump the most money into the economy. So he said in 3 days, they almost bankrupted the entire city of Chicago because all of the black people held the state offices or positions, garbage men, nurses, people who ran the bodegas, you know, like all of these people, they were key positions. So if they decided to shut the whole city down, it was going to bankrupt the thing in 3 days. That is power. So imagine if we don't buy anything and we start really living off of the land just for 3 days.
Right.
They will be
What would that
begging for us to
Right.
come back.
Right.
And I can tell you, piggyback off of that. Hey, the boys boycott movement was powerful.
Power.
You know what I mean?
It
Hey
affected the
man,
commerce.
that's right. So that's where we have to meet. And I always said this. I think that's where we have to stop. We got to stop buying from them and start as much as we can. We need to build a network for us.
Yeah.
We need to stop. Once they goddamn Walmart and all these old bullshit. You know what I mean? We need to stop.
Yeah.
The Jewish dollar circulates 7 times in a community before it exists.
Right.
All right. The sister said they surround us with foreigners in our communities for a reason. We are the only people that have foreigners in our communities. You go to their communities, they got their own people running shit. You're right. I'm gonna tell you something. The American dream. I learned this in commerce. No lie. The American dream is every race making money off of black people. Let me tell you this. The American dream. I learned this in commerce. Let me tell you something. When I first got into commerce, Obasi talk about me. Ken don't talk about me too much. When I first got in commerce and learned what was going on, a white guy said something to me at Quick Trip, and I slapped the hell out of him quick because he said something to me coming at a bad moment. He said something ignorant, and at that time, you know, I was learning about commerce, where we come from, and dealing with certain things. And when he said that, I slapped the hell out of him. I'm gonna say this: we need to start having that type of mindset. I'm not saying go slap the wazungu, but the mindset of us putting information that we are presenting together, regurgitating it, and then putting it out for the people. Because if we don't do that, we have to learn. Why I learned commerce? Because this is what the Europeans is ruling us with. And believe it or not, there are lies in commerce because fraud is acquiescence. It's fraud in it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm just telling you the truth. You know what I'm saying? And whatever we do as far as a unit or a community, we keep it off of social media. It's that time.
Right.
It's that time where we have to move in silence. We really have to move in silence. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And we really have to take in consideration of each other. What I want to do, I'm not even gonna say, but what we need to do is have a meeting and set some things up. Me, Ken, and Poetics, we already got some things going, and sooner or later, our situations is gonna be great because we're gonna have us a center, a business incubator, and we're gonna have where people can come every day. There's not gonna be a day you're not gonna be able to come now.
Yeah.
We're never gonna be closed. You get what I'm saying? We're gonna be open every day. We're gonna try to help the people, and that's what it's gonna be like. And it's gonna. Then this position right here will give me the time where I can study more as far as more to depth in commerce, more to depth in laws, and more into situations that's going to help us and how to really utilize the trust, because trust law is before United States law. Remember that. They took the gold and silver away from us. You can Google it, HJR 192-73-10 public law. Google it, check it out. What I talk is I speak facts because I don't have no education. I ain't went to college. I went to the school, a kitchen with a light and read books. That's what I went to.
He said
I
the
love it.
school of kitchen.
Honestly, and people don't realize that once you put something in a trust, you cannot take it out. So once it's there, that's it.
Yeah.
People need to put their homes in trust.
Right.
You have to put the dollar, like right now. So when I just dissolved my business this year because I have been in business for 10 years and I just grew tired of it. Like we talked about being entrepreneurs, that shit is not easy. I did it for 10 years. I'm now shifting from an entrepreneur to an investor because I see the value in investing in others, going into others. But I say that all to say, the first thing I did when I had an LLC, I started in 2013 and it was called B LLC. I became an author. I funneled all my books through that LLC. 2019, I started a company called QGH Holdings, for Queen Goddess Hope Holding. And QGH Holding was key because I was like, who is one of the richest people in the world right now? Warren Buffett. What does he have? What kind of structure does he have? That's what I'm going to have. So I realized that he had a holdings company.
Yep.
And when I started the holdings company, I went on his little stupid ass website and it was just white page with hyperlinks. And every single hyperlink was a business. And that was the whole website. And I started clicking on everything. It was jewelry, it was clothing, it was food, it was everything that you could think of. You know what I mean? And I was like, so a holdings company is basically a big LLC that funnels the money into all these other businesses. And the holdings company can basically say, this is my profit, this is my profit, this is my profit. I profited from this business. So no matter what happens, you could funnel that main money into any business that you like. So when I started thinking about that, I said, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing because I know how to build websites. I know how to do consulting. I actually have an e-commerce website. I do drop shipping. Why wouldn't I have multiple LLCs? My name, Nadia Atkinson Maldonado, is an LLC. My friend was like, yo, I just bought you a flight and you gave me a completely different name. I thought your name was Nadia Atkinson Maldonado. I'm like, it is. That's my LLC. Do you understand? Like, we got to be a little bit smart.
We do.
Why not LLC your name? Like, what? Why not?
Copyright your name.
Exactly. Like they did. Why shouldn't you? We have to think smart. We have to, although they still will have a one-up on us, when you start taking your shit back, they can't do anything about that. Because you know who you are, you know your word.
No. Yeah, being strategic.
For people listening, the topic is the have we been liberated? Talking about the melanated man, melanated woman, the black man, the black woman. I hate saying black, but yeah, have we been liberated? You know, as a people, you know, that's the topic for the night.
That's it. Yeah, we gotta seek liberation. You know what I mean? We have to be, in one accord with the other people. We have to find other people who are seeking liberation. Not everybody's seeking liberation. Not everybody's gonna agree with whether we are liberated or not. But that's fine, because we're wasting time if we're trying to convince anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hate to say this. It's time out for lions trying to help sheep. You need to seek out more lions. I hate to say that. If you feel like you have to help a sheep, move at your own discretion, because that might be the one that bring your whole camp down. Because sometimes the mindset of the sheep is very conflicting. 1 minute they with you, and the next minute they are definitely against you.
Mm-hmm.
Listen
I
to
get you. Definitely
if
get you.
goes into a sheep's ear, it becomes dizzy. That is a real solid fact. It starts getting crazy. Its own thoughts, it just starts moving. It will literally leave the flock and go in its own direction. Why the F would you want a fly to and change your whole shit up?
The sheep go. Yeah, they gonna switch.
A solid study of the sheep. One little thing can make them go astray, which is why they follow each other. Do you understand? No, I am the herd. Like, I want the shepherd. You understand? Like, there's no way that I could ever minimize myself to be somebody's sheep after doing all of this work.
Yeah. Because Western European system is going to teach you to be a sheep, and this is a world of wolves.
Listen, the word liberated means freed from or opposed to traditional societal and sexual attitudes or roles.
We ain't free. One of the presidents says, freedom and ignorance can never coexist. And the word free is not even part of the original English language. We ain't free. But man, you know what? This has been a dope conversation, a dope presentation. We thank everybody for listening. We talking about liberation of the black man and the black woman. You know what I'm saying? The key word tonight for us as a people, we need to meditate on is unity. Are we really unified? Are we really moving in unity?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I will say this: we have been pumped with the key word of love. I'm not saying I don't want to hear love. I'm not gonna say that, but I am gonna say this. But we need to use that word strategically, because we're not supposed to share our love with everybody. You know what I'm saying? And man, with the key word is unity. We need unity. We got Queen Goddess Hope. We got Poetics, real dope brother. I thank Poetics for coming on the live with us. He has grown. He is mastering some things. I can say that. I've seen him do what he do. You know what I'm saying? And can water or kill. RBG, his blood is red, black, green, y'all. He ain't got no red blood. It's red, black, green. And you know, I'm knowledge born 7. I just try to stay in my lane. And for the people who keep inboxing me, you know what I'm saying, on that BS, I do not know everything. I got the name knowledge because I won a bunch of cases in court by myself, and I helped out a lot of people with foreclosures. And I started learning about our people and science. That's what I got the name from, okay? People inbox me, you knowledge, you don't know nothing. And stop asking me why do I keep dropping the mathematics for today when I'm not 5% nation. We need to learn from all different schools of thoughts. I really don't like that, but it's cool. I'll keep moving with it. So yeah, peace and power, family, man. We'll see y'all next week. I guess next week we'll rock out.
Peace.
Salute.